today. Hope everybody had a great weekend, great Monday. We're tuning back in. Today we're talking about AI and what the question of the day is do you think AI regulation is appropriate in 2026, 2027? There's numerous guardrails. Fable was recently re-released by the US government. It was put on export control and banned, but now it's back up and running. So question for the day is what are your thoughts? I'm going to run a quick poll saying should AI be regulated more or less in 2026 through 2027. Yesterday, we asked, was AI in a bubble? And our general consensus was that it was in a bubble for businesses, but not for individual creators and business owners. But we'd love to hear more about what you think about regulation today. I want to put more or less. As we wait for everyone to join in, I'm going to talk a little bit more about where we are with our community AI coding project. So for more or less, let me add one more option. I'm going to put don't know and don't care. That's it. Just in case if folks don't know or don't care. Don't know, don't care. All right, so there we go. So I started that poll. So feel free as you join into the chat to answer that question. Also, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. That way you can see whenever we go live. We just started going live last week. We are the global AI community. Before this, we were a global crypto community, global stock community. That's how we grew our user base. But right now, we're transitioning over to we think there's a better opportunity in AI right now for the whole world. So we're moving in that direction. Love to have you guys here, the community. I'll tell you one thing we're working on a day labor marketplace. Think Indeed, but more lightweight. Instead of permanent temporary jobs or permanent full-time jobs, think about it as day labor opportunity, something that connects business owners, also something that will also connect folks that are looking for job opportunities. Think about gig opportunities. Think about things like Uber and DoorDash. So instead of folks driving that, or folks have a second job that want to make some extra money, it's a good opportunity for them to hop in right there. So we're building that, and we're almost complete the first phase of it. Thanks to everyone that has contributed to the poll this morning. Should AI be regulated more or less in 2026, 2027? I see we have one person saying less, which is kind of interesting because I mean I get it. You know, no one really wants government oversight, corporate oversight, things like that. But at the end of the day, there has to be some level of guardrails in place to make sure that things aren't misused or abused. So, hey, it's me happy to see you here today. I see another vote came in saying that AI should be more regulated. Another one coming in saying less. So I get it. We're kind of looking for a delicate balance here, right? And my perspective is, you know, we have to keep people safe. We have to keep a capitalistic society. You know, we can't just shut things down at will. So I think finding a delicate balance is the answer through proper legislation. Um, but I think, you know, we'll kind of see where that goes in 2027 and see how things will change. But overall, I think AI is kind of neutral right now. I think as a society, we're kind of finding out what we can do, what we can't do with it. Of course, there's national security concerns that have to be monitored and thought about. But as far as business owners, creators, and just everyday casual use, I think we need to keep it as free as possible so we can get a chance to see what can be done with it. And I'll tell you something else, and I love to hear you guys' opinion, but it makes you kind of wonder, before AI was out to the masses, who was using this? Like, you know, who was using it to create books, create, increase productivity? You know, AI hit the masses and, you know, we all use it in our day-to-day life nowadays. Some people use it for like a Google search, others for other reasons, but the whole idea here is there's a ton of opportunity that comes through innovation, and we don't want to stifle that with over legislation and just things like that. You know, everyone has their own uses for it, but that's kind of my personal opinion. I'd love to hear you guys' opinion. Let's see. So Luigi, it can help a lot of people. Even they say we don't have to work anymore. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I don't believe in the whole thing that okay, 10 years from now, no one at work will all have our feet kicked up. It just doesn't make sense. It sounds good. I just don't see it happening because there's always going to be levels in life. Unfortunately, I don't like it. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I think there's always going to be some level of hierarchy that folks are going to go for. And they're, you know, think about it, money is value, right? So at the end of the day, someone's going to want something done, and that's where commerce and money comes in. So I just don't know if we're all going to not going to work anymore and robots going to just be at our beck and call. Like I said, I don't know, but we'll see. But thank you, Luigi, for that comment. For buns, it's just because I feel like it's taking too much water. Oh, but it's really handy for a lot of stuff. But water's water, so. And I think that's a great point. I haven't dug too deep into the utility of data centers. Like I know data centers use a ton of water. I don't know if it's salt water, is it fresh water? Um, I guess there's a cost to get that water to the data center. I'm still learning a lot about that myself, but I do know there's definitely a lot of people have a lot of concerns about, they call it NIMBY, not in my backyard, like, not having data centers placed in their backyard, and the effect that it will have on the environment. So that's something I'm going to look more into over the next week or so, because the environment does matter. Let's take a look at the poll. Should AI be regulated more or less in 2026, 2027? We have 5 votes for more, 2 votes for less. Folks are saying more. So, folks, the folks that think that we need to do more regulation, what type of regulation do you think needs to be in place to make it make sense? I apologize. One thing about the channel is health. We're trying to focus on healthy eating. So if I don't get this yogurt in the morning, I would never get it in. So on a personal note, I try to drink this type of water. I like sparkling water personally. Maybe that's my next poll: sparkling water versus regular water. I know a lot of people tend to like different types of water. My thing is sparkling. And I find it's not really a big in between. You either love sparkling or you hate it. But that's my thing, sparkling water. And then I do whole foods sometimes. So I try to do Greek yogurt. Even though I like Noosa 100 times better, but I like my health 100 times better than that. But yeah, folks, just happy to have you guys here. I try to talk fast. I know you guys have things to do. I'm talking too fast. Let me know. I'll slow down. But at the end of the day, our question for today is: should AI be regulated more or less? And let me ask you guys also: how many of you guys talk to your congresspersons? So I'm part of a business program, and we go out, we actually talk to our congresspersons, and we advocate for things such as access to affordable capital, workforce development, and things like that. But I'll let you guys know your congresspersons are very open to talk. Go to their website, sign up for their newsletter, set up an appointment with them. They advocate for things such as policy on the local, state, and also federal level, depending what role they're in. But it's a great way to have your voice heard, and it's very, very effective. And believe it or not, your congresspersons do listen, and their legislative assistants do take notes, and they take into consideration concerns that you may have regarding laws and things like that. So, by all means, definitely speak with your elected officials if you run into issues in your day-to-day life. But all in all, please, everyone join in, either subscribe and or take the vote. Right now, most folks are saying that AI should be more regulated in 2026, 2027. So we have about a 3-to-1 ratio. And let's see. So the problem is if it comes to wrong hands, that it could then use it to kill people. Yes. Luigi, I think you're touching on a really, really good point. So what is AI today is robotics tomorrow, right? So at the end of the day, AI is just the brain of the robots. So I think you make a really, really good point. And that's why we try to qualify in 2026 versus 2027. Because in 2026 versus 2027, we're seeing the AI narrative play out. Not as much the robots yet, but when the robots do come, the question is, how will how will unhinged AI software control robots? I'm sure we've all seen robots online smacking little kids around, the viral videos. But what happens the day when the robots get out of hand and we can't handle it? At the end of the day, it's almost like Terminator. Like, are there going to be robot killers? I mean, let's be honest. I know we don't want to talk about it, but just like there's good humans and there's bad humans, I think there'll be good humans and there'll be bad robots. I'm sorry, good robots and bad robots. But the question becomes, we can't afford to have a bad robot running around on these streets, because who knows how to take down a robot, you know? I mean, have they invented like ray guns or something like that, electromagnetic guns? Or, I mean, maybe it just takes a water gun. I don't know. You think a water gun can stop a rogue robot? I don't know. Maybe so, but I think those are the type of questions we have to ask 2026, 2027, so that when 2028, 2029, 2030 comes, we're kind of ahead of the curve. But I mean, right now, I think folks are kind of regulating or over-regulating or under-regulating. I can't really call it, but they're kind of regulating AI, um, as they still get a sense of what this new technology can do. So, yeah. But like Luigi, you're raising very good points today. I see you thought this through a lot. Because what if they become powerful? And like a lot of times we think about power in the sense of physical, right? physical domination, like a robot physically dominating you. But what happens when the robot is just psychologically more aware than a human? They create narratives online and they control the thought process of the masses to keep regulation from keeping them in place. And then in the moment we're not thinking about it, AGI is in place, and now you have robots who can do things that we never thought so. Four Buns says AI, I fear, will not literally take over, but will grow a lot. And over time, us humans will get fatter and lazier. This is just a theory, but AI is true. Four Buns, I agree. We will get fatter and lazier. And that's why I'm eating my yogurt. Try my best to stay away from that. But I think you definitely raise a really, really good point, because over time, robots are going to get smarter, right? Like human intelligence is somewhat capped because we're limited in the amount of storage that we can have in our brain, right? But what is it? Moore's law. I think storage doubles every some increment second. But whole point is storage increases in robots over time. Humans are kind of tapped. So even though we're capped, even though we have like great processing power and abilities, robots will ultimately outpace us, if nothing more than having access to more memory on demand. So I think you raise a really good point, and I think I'm not going to say AI needs to be feared, but I would definitely say AI needs to be respected. And we have to understand that AI is a little bit more than just what we're programming, because AI, in the definition of it, is learning. Like, AI, we have neural networks, which is learning training models. So AI is learning over time. Humans, we're learning, but we also are divided because, we have other things going on in life. We'll get to the point we've reached PhD status, learn a lot. Then we circle back like, okay, what's the meaning of life? I need to go live in the mountains, So humans are different, whereas robots are very structured. But it's also interesting. I think another point I like to throw out there for you guys is when we think about it, robots are going to learn too, right? So maybe robots will reach peaks and plateaus, and they'll kind of change their mindset as well. I think it's one of those things where we just don't know. But thank you, Luigi and Four Buns, for your insight for sure, because it definitely makes a lot of sense. Everyone is joining, welcome. Please subscribe, but also please answer our question: should AI be regulated more or less in 2026 and 2027? We've had some excellent input in the last 10 minutes or so from the group chat. Some are saying more, some are saying less. Some are saying that it's less AI and more robots we have to worry about. I agree with many of the points that have been presented, but we'd love to hear more points of folks. Feel free to leave message in the comments. Feel free to answer our poll, and also follow the folks that have commented in the comments. Give them a chance. Give them a couple of days. If you don't like it, unsubscribe. But please, in this community, we try to subscribe to everyone. Give them a chance. If you don't like it, then unsubscribe. But thank you, everyone that has contributed so far. We have 8 different responses to the poll so far. Should AI be regulated more or less in 2026, 2027? I'm in DC, home of the legislation, federally at least. So we get a lot of these conversations going. If anyone else is in DC, love for you to chat with us. Let us know how you feel about it. Let us know how you feel about regulation in general. We're talking about how you can go to your local elected representative. You can tell them how you feel. You can tell them how you feel about how legislation should go forward with not only robots, but AI in the future. So love to have you guys here. Please answer the poll. Please comment in the chat so we can get more input on this conversation. So outside of just regulation, what we do here in the global AI community is we talk about ways that AI can improve your life if you're a business owner, worker professional, and or just everyday person using AI tools. Yesterday, our conversation was about, is the AI bubble about to pop? The consensus was we have an AI bubble for corporations, most folks feel, and we think that's kind of precipitated by CapEx, capital expenditures, and things like that. And we don't know if the profit is kind of caught up with the expense. But on a personal level, I'm using Canva. As other business operators, we're using things to create menus, to create products. And we're only paying $20 a month. So is that really a bubble? I wouldn't say for the everyday person, but we think it could be kind of a bubble for business owners. We'd love to hear your comment on that. And please check out videos from yesterday to comment on that as well. But for today, our question of the day is, should AI be regulated more or less in 2026, 2027? Four Buns, another comment. AI is good, it's smart, it can help tons of stuff. I agree, but the government has prevented all these bad stuff from that's running at AI, like water loss and humans getting lazier. And I think Four Buns made up a really, really good point. So I think it comes down to, what is the benefit of AI in our society? Is AI making us better? Is AI making us worse? I think one big question also is, AI a tool to help us advance and do things better? Or is AI taking the place and taking the place of creativity. I tell you, at one point I used to love to write, but I feel like with having things like Chat GPT out, Claude, it's like, do I really have that same passion for writing? I do, but when you write and people are like, oh yeah, was that just written by Chat GPT? It kind of slows you down. So I definitely get the point you're making for Buns, and a great point. Luigi said, I think also those opportunists, elitists are the big problems. And I concur with you, Luigi. I think we're always going to have opportunists and elitists that take advantage of anything that we put out there. I think it's our job as sensible people to pull it back, right? So at the end of the day, the elitists can take AI and they can put it in the robots and they can use it for world domination and conquest, which they probably will because absolute power corrupts, is what we've been told over time. But I submit to you today, and I question one thing: is how can we as a people, we the people, take back the opportunities that are inherent with AI to make it so that we can prosper in our own domain. So, for instance, AI for me as a business owner saves me time because I can get things done that otherwise I would have done myself. Someone else has to do it themselves. So it saves us cycles, and we don't lose jobs from AI. We add to jobs from AI. So I haven't lost one team member through AI. We've actually made my team members' jobs a lot easier because now they can use AI to meet the goals of the company that much faster. And I encourage small business owners, also large business owners, to take that approach. So instead of saying, hey, how can I cut jobs through AI? Say, how can I supercharge and how can we, for lack of better terms, kick ass and take names by using AI? So that's kind of where we are with AI in 2026, 2027. And that's the reason why we personally do not want AI to be more regulated, except from some things that you guys have mentioned today in the chat. Like when it comes to power and control and corruption, absolutely. Let's not allow AI to harm humans. But when it comes to a capital society, we can learn better ways to do things quicker. Let's not stifle that innovation, especially here in the US, when other countries such as China and other developed nations are using it to better their workforce and better their society. So I think it's a delicate balance, and I think we need folks to really speak to these things and take a proactive role. I encourage you guys, talk to your local congresspersons at the state level, at the federal level. Also talk to your local folks. See how they're using AI. See, are they having AI guided by fear or guided by faith? You know, it really matters. So I think any technology can be amazing. So the internet was used for nefarious purposes, but it's also been used for great purposes that created a lot of jobs, a lot of opportunity, and it actually helped healing around the world. So, like for instance, mass communications and folks having access to opportunity, access to affordable capital, workforce development, so many different initiatives have come from folks positively using the internet. So the question becomes, how do we replicate that as it relates to AI? And that's why we're holding important conversations like this so we can dive deeper into what is the purposes. Luigi, it could be very beneficial for everybody in practice. Luigi, I think you're raising a very good point. Um, in practice, AI can really change the world, but I think we have to shift the narrative. And we have to shift the narrative such that we as people are creating a narrative. And I think folks doing great things with AI have to get out there, put themselves out there, put their face out there, talk about it, so that other folks are encouraged to also do the same thing so that we can move forward with AI in a positive way rather than folks being fearful and things being stifled. So like I didn't really like what I saw with Fable. So no, Fable is based off the Mythos architecture, which is based off of Anthropic, which is a large language model LLM company. So what we're finding is that by them banning Fable, you know, it was kind of like a wake up call to us as whether entrepreneurs, business owners, working professionals, everyday users of AI. And it made us realize that beautiful technology can be stifled if it's not handled the right and correct way. So that's why we're holding calls like this right now. We're just coming in, chopping it up. You know, hope you guys subscribe for more conversations like this. Because what we're really trying to do is start the conversation to make sure that AI is handled properly, you know, because as you guys know over the years, internet has had its up and downs. There's certain countries, we're not going to name any specific names, where internet access is stifled. So in times of war, in times of peace, we see the bad things that happen when communication is not allowed to precipitate properly. So we want to just make sure we start the conversations early as it relates to AI for the benefit of business owners, everyday folks, corporations, everybody, because we all are stakeholders when it comes to AI. And as a person, we must have our voice heard by all means. As business owners, we must be heard because our uh, our thoughts matter. And I will be talking with my local congressperson about AI initiatives, and I hope you guys do the same. And let's make sure that our voices are heard, that they know where we fall as it relates to legislation with AI. And we should be part of creating that framework as people. And we will be. We will be, because our congresspersons, they're elected because of us. And we'll make sure that our voices are heard. So more on that later, especially in seasons where folks are electing and, first petitioning and wanting to get elected, they're canvassing areas. We're going to make sure that this is a major point that is heard in upcoming elections. So thank you guys for being here today. But we'd love to hear more what you guys have to say. I've been talking a lot today. As I mentioned, this is my normal walk and talk, sit and talk. If you guys are not subscribed, I need you. We need you to subscribe, because even more than just talking about AI and AI regulation, in this channel, we make apps, we build apps. We're building a day labor marketplace app to give folks opportunity to get jobs, to have employers have opportunities to get more people to show up to work. So that's a common project. We work together on this community. So even though we have talks like this and chats like this, we're also building. We're creators and we're building, and we want to make the world a better place through the use of AI globally and not just here in the US. We want to teach folks in developing countries and developed countries more about AI. So that's why we're so happy to have you guys here. And thank you for joining me on our daily walk and talk. I'm going to be back in a little bit. I got to get out of here. I wanted to check in and thank you guys for answering our question for the day. Should AI be more regulated or less regulated in 2026, 2027, for the betterment of the world? So more on that. We got more on that coming a little bit later on today, but thank you guys for joining. We have 9 poll responses saying, should AI be regulated more in 2026, 2027? Looks like about 7 say yes, 7 said more, 2 said less. So we'll see. Also, thank you, Luigi. Thank you, Four Buns. Thank you, Ismi. Thank you, everyone, that joined today and commented. Uh, it really means a lot. As I mentioned, we're advocating for more regulation or less regulation, which is proper regulation in AI. We want to make sure that it's not becoming overregulated, but it's very important for our society that's not underregulated. So kind of find that delicate balance. I'm here in DC. I think a lot of you guys are probably tuning in from DC. So today's a pretty good day to have this regulation and policy question. Should AI be more regulated in 2026 or less regulated in 2026, 2027? Let me know how you guys feel. We have another vote just came. It looks like you're saying it's be more regulated. Well, someone doesn't know. More regulated, less regulated, we'll see. But we are in DC. This is a policy town, so regulation over AI matters. As you can see, Luigi and Buns, everyone looked through the chat. They gave us their insight. We'd love to hear more insight on whether you think regulation has to be more regulated. And I'll tell you, we probably have some policymakers that do join into this call because we are here in DC. I have relationships with policymakers as well. So if you guys would like, I'll try to get some interviews, or we can some interviews going about AI and about AI regulation, where we stand with it. If everyone knows about Anthropic, Anthropic is the creators of Claude and Claude Code. They recently were ordered to unrelease the uh, Fable LLM, which is part of the Mythos architecture. Long story short, it's a very, very high-powered, very smart AI that really gets things done. It's been trained very, very well. So it was banned for a while, but now it's back. So a lot of open market, free speech type people were kind of upset, wondering how could they ban AI and keep it from the masses. So that's why we're here today asking, should AI be more regulated or less regulated in the upcoming years? Luigi and Buns on this chat made some really good points. They were talking about making us aware of, should we think about how AI does interact with robotics? Because that's the next phase, right? If you guys don't see that, then I don't know what we're missing. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of us realize that AI is just the brain layer, for the physical layer of a robot. So how are we regulating this? Hey, Golded, happy to see you back. I believe you were here the other day. But yeah, so everybody let us know. And right now, less is starting to creep up on more as far as our polls concerned. But our big thing here is, should AI be more regulated or less regulated in the coming years? I think a lot of us will look in hindsight, and even though we don't like regulation right now, I think in hindsight we'll see, oh my gosh, it's like a Terminator. These robots run around crazy if there aren't certain guardrails that are put in place. So that's where we are with that. I don't have all the answers. That's why I'm leaning on you guys as a community to kind of enlighten me. Folks brought up issues about water and data centers. While I've heard a lot of talk about that, I'm not as much of an environmental person. I'm more of a tech person, so I don't really know all the background on that. But I'm gonna do some research. I was wondering, is it ran by salt water? Is it ran by fresh water? You know, is this water that is conveniently placed in a data center? Like, is a river literally running through it, or the situation where water has to be brought onto site? So just very much interested in the economic impacts, or may I say, not even economic impacts, the environmental impacts uh, as it relates to water and I'm losing my train of thought, but as it relates to water and AI. So I'm happy you guys are here because I mentioned I'm in DC, which is very much a political regulation town. So it's great for us to have the question of the day being, should AI be regulated more or should it be regulated less in 2026, 2027? But let me also pose the other question to you guys while I have you. How much regulation are you guys seeing in your day-to-day life as it relates to AI? Like, are you guys feeling any kind of hindrance that is coming from AI regulation? I'd love to know that. And also, are there any other pressing concerns? I'm always looking for the question of the day. We just started going live last week, and I think it's a great way to practice because I'm relatively new to recording long form and short form video here, and I think it's good for me to practice as much as possible. So I'm happy when you guys come through. Even happier when you guys subscribe because we want to really get these pressing issues out. And I'd love to get some folks on the stage if you'd like to talk with me. So let me know about that. And if so, I'll just go live again and we can have a talk about AI regulation in 2026 and 2027. And we'll see if it makes sense and how it's impacting your lives, your business, your studies, your mind, your body, your soul, whatever impact AI has on you, either positive or negative. I'd love to hear more about it because it is definitely of concern to our AI global community. So happy to have you guys with us. We've been here almost 30 minutes, about to get out here any moment now. Want to make sure everybody is subscribed. Make sure everybody is ready for this next step we are taking in our app development. We're building our apps using AI, Claude Code specifically, and we're building as a community. Right now, working on a uh, day labor marketplace. So think, how do I say it? Think Indeed, think stuff like that for gig work. So let's say if you need work or you're an employer, you need workers, we're putting it together a day labor marketplace we're building here in real time to help bring jobs to your community. So that's something we're really excited about, by the way. Been talking about it for a week, and we're slowly building with prototypes and video. Check video number 1 and video number 2. We have a lot of prototypes that we have there, and let us know what you think. Small things we've added, like the ability for prospective applicants to message prospective employers, to also employers letting us know, okay, how should folks show up for work? Are they being paid same day? A lot of small details specific to the app that I will not bore you guys with right now because we're here today more so we're talking about the importance of should AI be more regulated or less regulated in 2026, 2027. I invite policymakers to also give us some input. Let us know how you feel because this is a pressing concern for our community. We have over 7,000 subscribers right now. We're growing, but we have really big questions about AI regulation. Is there an AI bubble? And we'd love to hear from you guys, policymakers, politicians. We're in DC, so I feel you guys definitely following this chat. I also have some relationship with some policymakers and politicians, and we'll try to get their insight in future videos. But right now, I think the biggest question we have is, should AI be regulated more or less, más or menos, in the coming years? So please let us know, give us some insight to what you think and why, and we're going to work to get policymakers updated and informed on AI policy and regulation concerns. But as I mentioned, guys, thanks. It means a lot. We've been online for almost 30 minutes. I really got to get going for my day. I know some of you guys are tuning in, hanging out. Some of you guys are working. If you want to keep me going, let me know. Ask me questions. Like, subscribe, share. We keep going. But if not, we're hitting that 30-minute mark. We're going to probably pop out for a second. Everyone just join in. Please answer the poll. Should AI be more regulated or less regulated in 2026, 2027? I would love to hear from you guys. Your thoughts do matter a lot. So please chime in. Let us know how you feel. We're about to get going for the day, but just wanted to get your opinion on that. Any policymakers in the room, please let us know. how you guys are directing policy at our elected officials so we can get a better idea of what the policy framework looks like in this upcoming year for AI, especially as we move into robotics in the near future. It's going to be even more important. Guys, I've been talking for a little bit. Put that camera down while I take a quick sip of my drink. But I encourage everyone just join in, please. Answer our poll. Should AI be regulated more or less going into 2026 and 2027? We would love to hear your feedback on whether you think there needs to be more policy regulation or less policy regulation as it relates to the use of AI, whether in business, working, for working professionals, corporate, or just on an individual basis. So I'm gonna let you guys think about that while I take a quick drink. All right. Woo. All right. All right, folks, coming on 31 minutes here. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. We've been going strong for about 30 minutes. The question of the day is, should AI be regulated more or less in 2026, 2027? The general consensus is we need regulation as it relates to AI going into robots. Other folks said we got to be mindful of personal liberties, which I totally agree. Also, free markets. So the question becomes, how do we regulate AI going into 2026, 2027? And that is the big question for policymakers going into this new year, later half of the second half of the year. But yeah, folks, if you're joining in, please answer the poll of the day. If you have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, it's been a great conversation. We've learned a lot. Please subscribe, like, so you can get more of these conversations as they come about. But for now, we got to get going, folks. Always love to have you. It's been a great walk and talk for today. Any of my regulars that stopped in, hey, happy to see you. And we'll be back on later on today and same time tomorrow. But in the meantime, subscribe and let me know, should AI be more regulated or less regulated in 2026, 2027? For the moment, looks like more has beaten out the less, about a 3-to-1 ratio, but it's still time for less to catch up. But if not, we're going to get out of here for the day. And happy everybody's here. Have a wonderful day, folks. It's been a good one. Okay, so before we go, let's someone else. Oh, I was just about to leave. We got 3 new people joining. Okay, so I'm going to stick it for one more second. But only if you guys vote. Should AI be more regulated or less regulated in 2026, 2027? We've had 4 buttons of Luigi and a couple other people chime in on what they think. Like to hear from you guys. Right now, folks are saying it should be more regulated. They're saying that as AI is integrated into robotics, we have to have guardrails in place and good policy and legislation to make sure that we are not overcome by the robots. So this doesn't become a Terminator kind of situation. All the old heads in here, you know about Terminators. Young folks, Google it, look it up. But yeah, let me know how you guys feel about should AI be more or less regulated in 2026, 2027. Chime in, leave your vote. But we're going to get out of here. Thanks everyone for joining. We'll be back.